Here we go.
And we're live.
And we're live.
Hello. We can't do it anymore.
Yes.
No, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yes, you do.
Hi, all. Welcome. It is Monday night, Generational Change. I'm Jen.
I'm Peter, and we are growing.
Welcome. And if you guys are new here, please hit the like button, subscribe if you will. And yeah, we have good stuff happening tonight.
It's a new world when our channel's growing, isn't it?
It's a whole new world.
It is a whole new
Well,
world.
I saw your rant about Pac-Man yesterday, and I saw people, Pac-Man was basically like tearing up about losing all his subscribers. And I'm thinking maybe some of them have moved over here and
that
they've
would be
decided
wonderful.
to grow a brain.
Yeah, but I wouldn't think anybody that's a paying member for Dave Pac-Man is going to be in any way, shape, or form necessarily interested in what we're selling.
No,
we're selling truth. He's selling lies. It's that simple.
He's so pitiful.
He is. And so are a lot of others, but he in particular is really, really bad. And we are not going to waste time talking about that douchebag. Let's talk to somebody who really knows a thing or two about what's going on. You know him because he talks about real economic justice through how we actually spend, tax and spend. How does tax and spend work in the United States?
It's complex. It's complex. No.
Is it that complex?
No.
Though?
It's not. But the problem I'm finding right now, and this is this moment where so many people are properly outraged that that our country is sending so many billions of dollars to wars, and people are rightfully outraged about that. And yet I feel like it's like this perfect opportunity for the austerity hawks to basically capitalize on that mindset. And because you do not have a shortage of people saying our tax dollars are funding these wars. And even though that's not true, I feel like putting that out there, like that mindset is just further makes things difficult for us in terms of, progressing.
Well, he is one of our favorite regular guests. He is the founder of the Real Progressives. He is a regular on Status Coup, and he, of course, hosts the Macro and Cheese podcast. You know him, you love him, Steve Grumbine. Post-election 2024, welcome back to Generational Change.
Hello.
Oh, how you doing there in our nation's capital?
Jesus God, man.
It's a good choice of a background, I must say.
Yeah, I swapped out the old commie background for this, so.
I don't know. I think it in reality, it would look like it was on fire. Like it should sort of be burning at this point. I think like this is, and they're still going down with that ship. Like it's really, the Democrats are really, they're the string quartet in the Titanic.
Yep.
No, what really is in many ways, I'm sure, even though you are post-duopoly, as most of us are becoming, you did want to at least take a gander at what the Democratic establishment was going to say after this ass kicking, because this was an ass kicking. And maybe you're surprised, maybe you're not. I thought maybe there would be some modicum of self-reflection.
I didn't.
There isn't any.
I knew there wouldn't be.
In fact, not only is there isn't any, Sonny Houston in particular of The View really just said, no, America's the problem, not us.
Who was it that said Kamala ran the flawless campaign?
Joy Reid.
That's not even a one-off. There's a bunch of split-fingered waste people out there saying stupid shit like that. And it's just embarrassing. It's shameful. God. Horrible.
They're going to just become more and more irrelevant. See, that's the thing. I mean, you can't be a party when nobody's in your party at some point, right? And as more and more people die off, let's be real, young people are not registering party affiliated with Dems. They're just not. So they're going to go the way of the Whigs. They'll go away. Here's hoping.
What do you see as being the next step forward as we try to attempt some semblance of a workers' movement in this country in the Trump 2.0 era?
So there's two kind of mindsets here, right? and they're split into a lot of millions of factions because the left doesn't do things in solidarity, unfortunately. Okay. But you've got the normie world that is going to do everything they can to make their profile picture black with a Ukraine flag on it. They're going to wear blue bracelets like pink pussy hats. They're going to do all that stuff to try to get us to be terrified of Donald Trump. Now, listen, there's nothing about Donald Trump that I like, but I'm not just post-duopoly. I want to make this clear. I think this is a really important statement. I don't believe in the system. Okay. And I mean that. That's not like I think I can't remember the last time I was on here, but the last time I think I said something like this too. And I told Jordan asked me, he goes, "Hey, you want to come on and talk about the election?" I was like,
nah.
Nah. And he's like, yeah. He goes, I appreciate it, because I don't. Because here's the thing. I want to say that people are just deluded, but they're not deluded because they got an opportunity to see a live stream genocide, and it wasn't AI. They got to see it firsthand, and they still said to us, the greatest evil was not the person funding the slaughter of children, but just some fucking blowhard. Okay. Now, mind you, I'm not saying Trump is good in any way, shape, or form. But you didn't have zero. You had no power whatsoever in mass numbers on university campuses, in mass numbers throughout major metropolitan cities to get Kamala and Joe Biden to stop funding the slaughter of those babies. You had no power at all. The people spoke. So many Democrats and independents went out there and protested in good faith to say, this is not good. Stop it fucking now. And they still did it anyway. In fact, worse, they got people like Bill Clinton to go out to Michigan and lecture the Muslim people.
Oh, I'll lecture them all right.
Serious. Talk about these people cannot read a room.
No, but it's not read a room. See, this is what I'm trying to say. And this is where I'm at. And I'm not telling you have to be with me. I'm just telling you where I am. They're there to manufacture consent. They're there to create the narrative that the ownership class, their donors and above, want them to carry forward. The ownership class doesn't give one rat's ass whether it is Kamala or whether it is Orange Genie. Okay, they don't care who it is as long as they do the thing. Capital accumulation. I just had a phenomenal, the best interview I've done in many years this weekend with Jason Hickel.
I love him. And you're going to need I want him to come on here at some point. And I've read his stuff. All right. I'm sorry. Go on.
No. He's very hard to get. I get him about once a year, but I do get him once a year because we've established that, but he's very, very hard to get. But the point I'm making here is that everybody around the world can see this, but shit libs can't see it. And the fact is that there was nothing anyone could do to change the outcome of what U.S. policy is, because we don't live in a democracy. But mamby-pamby people are desperate to hold on to this lie. So to me, for the next, the rest of my life, I'm 55, the rest of my life has got to be spent making people realize the system is a lie. Not just the monetary system. And it's not that the monetary system's a lie, but the narrative that they've manufactured is a lie. Okay. The concepts that they hide capitalism around is a lie. The idea that you could vote away the oligarchy's power is so fucking funny. It's hilarious. And yet people really believe it. In their soul, man, they're going to go door knock. In their soul, they're going to phone bank. In their soul, they're going to donate. And for what? If you could literally vote away the oligarchy's power, it had been done by now. You cannot, it is not. And it's not just that we don't have the votes. It's this system is not built. Everything, every day, there's a new story. Every day there's a new narrative to distract people. I'm watching people that don't know anything about Hitler talking about Hitler when the last year we witnessed a fucking genocide. What was it that they didn't like about Hitler other than genocide? They didn't like his little mustache? What they didn't like his choice in artwork? I mean, honest to God, we witness this, and they have the audacity to come out of the woodwork now and talk about Hitler. Oh my God, Hitler's here. You fucking moron. Hitler's been in office for 4 years killing people. And you stayed silent in your little corner talking about things and chitter-chattering about fundraising and other weird things that Democrats do. But the reality is none of it changed anything, had no impact on anything. Zero. It's not about whether Republicans are better or Democrats are better. It's the system. And this is why a third party movement even may be a good opportunity for organizing, but it's not the party that's the problem. It's the system. The system is not there for you to vote away the oligarch's power. You don't have that power with this system. It's going to require more than that. It's going to require something different. It's going to require all hands on deck. And there's a lot of people that want to be a strong finger, but we need a fucking fist. And because people want to be individuals going off in their own direction, they want to be normies, they want to read the mainstream media, they want to watch The View, they want to celebrate. Oh, Kamala Harris, such a beautiful, oh, look at the clothes she's wearing. Did you see her smile? Oh my God. She said, I'm speaking to Palestinian protesters. Whatever could we do without her? She's amazing. This is the kind of like European monarchy celebrating the royals bullshit that the US does. They celebrate billionaires. They celebrate Elon Musk. They celebrate all this shit. And my job going forward is to destroy that myth. I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to talk to people that buy into it. I want to fucking shatter it because I'm tired of Groundhog Day. And if others aren't tired of Groundhog Day yet, we're in trouble because that is the only way out. We've gotten into one of those little Chinese finger traps where if you pull any harder, your finger's ripped off. We've got to go in a different route. And I know there's always somebody that's going to come up with some mystical way. No, but if we just take over the Democratic Party, you know, we could just change it. And it's just like, dude, if I hear one more person say that line of bullshit, I think I'm going to erupt. So this election to me, let me finish this one sentence and I will give it over to you. This election to me, the only thing it represented was an opportunity to bring attention to the genocide in Gaza. Because the first thing that happened, the very first thing that happened after Kamala lost, or as she was losing, is they started talking about Donald Trump's plans to blow up the national debt. They started going full right-wing austerity immediately. And dumbos that supported Kamala, dumbos, let's call it for dumbos that supported her, don't know any better than to say, yeah, Donald Trump's blowing up the deficit. We got to go after Donald Trump. He's just blowing up the debt. And it's that kind of moronic stuff that the rest of my life is going to be spent destroying and debunking and giving them the truth. And I'm not here to tell you everybody's going to like the way I do it. I'm really I'm more worried about the people that tone police because they're the reasons why Kamala even has any air of legitimacy.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's because of worthless tone police.
We can only hope
that people that do that stuff.
Yeah.
So going forward, we're screwed if we don't wake up. And that's the Grumbine answer right there. If we don't wake up, that's it.
I feel like, and I have felt like this for a while now, I feel like I've taken the red pill, but I'm forced to still live in the matrix. And all we want to do is get to Zion. Ironically, the Zion of the good people. But like the concept is if I can't get out. It's like we're forced to live in the matrix, even though we can see the matrix. That's what it feels like to me. And it's really frustrating. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to have conversations with pedestrians. You know, people especially want to talk to me about politics. People will come out and I basically am like, please just you don't want to engage with me on this. Like, just save yourself.
You know, one of the more unheralded parts of this campaign that we just witnessed, which I hope becomes more obvious to people. We can't automatically fix the infrastructural problems of this country. Those are too deeply embedded. But what I hope does come of this is that there are enough people that start to wake up to the reality of the consultant industrial complex that plays a outsized role in why we can't have nice things, because the propaganda is thick. It is very, very thick. And as we have alluded to, you know, Bernie comes out and makes a statement that he should have made a while back. Frankly, he should have made it as soon as Joe Biden said the parliamentarian won't let me raise the minimum wage. But what we have seen, and we're going to play a couple of clips here, is this is what the consultant industrial complex is all about. It's not about winning or losing. It's about maintaining these well-paid, cushy jobs on the Beltway. And it doesn't matter if the country goes to hell. The country already is going to hell. I mean, I think most people would agree to that. But what some of these people are just painfully saying is, no, we're not austerity hawks enough. We don't do enough of that. That's the real problem here. And so here is Philippe Reigns. He goes by, he's Philip, but he spells it Philippe because, you know, he's sophisticated. Wouldn't judge that based on the way he dresses. But nevertheless, he's just one of several. But here's what he had to say on CNN with a bunch of the other moron heads that unfortunately say the same bullshit.
I don't agree with you, or saying that's not representative of the bulk of us. It's like Medicare for all is not something that the bulk of the Democratic Party believes in. But
you see right there, when you make a statement that statistical data, listen, it's one thing if you sent the country over because we know how bad the propaganda is. But if there's one thing we learned from the Bernie campaign, specifically in 2016, is that anywhere from 80 to 90% of Democrats agree with single payer healthcare.
Most of the country does.
And usually 60% of Republicans agree with single payer healthcare. So this is a consultant class paid talking point. I hope that there are enough people out there who are starting to listen to this and think, yeah, that does sound kind of ridiculous. Just a thought. We'll continue.
Yet we spend tons of time on it. Now, on immigration, there are people who do believe, and I think I buy into it, that part of the problem we've had as Democrats is that we have gotten pulled to the left so far that we can't make common sense decisions. And look at I worked for Hillary.
The radical left, man.
With Bernie.
Oh my God.
Bernie, you know, went after Biden. I shouldn't say went after. He entered the primary. There's no evidence that the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party has met with any success or represents this party.
You're right. Most of them have left anyway.
I was just going to say, all you had to do was rig an entire primary. I mean, listen. They clearly don't have any sway because you decided to rig it. So,
how does this this guy seriously?
And to think that this guy's worked on 3 presidential campaigns, that's impressive and well paid too. And you can tell by the way he's dressed that he really doesn't like getting up for these TV gigs unless it's paying well. So just
oh my God, this guy.
We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna continue every time someone on the hard left says, "Oh, you can't do that." We're all gonna paralyze. I mean, I don't know.
Can someone stop? Who's hard left?
For people to start saying what they say on, you know, WhatsApp and Twitter and whatever it is, that this is enough already. People can't. The PC police doesn't just apply to Republicans. It applies to, I don't know what I'd call myself. I just call myself a Democrat. I'm not a progressive. I'm not
a loser. A loser.
To the right of some Republicans on some topics.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Where to go with that? Where to go? So I am still waiting for the example. And I hear other people saying this, by the way, in regular life, that the problem is the hard left, the radical left is pulling the Democrats in their, and I'm like, what are you smoking? Like, I feel like we can't get them to even be center. They're right of center. So I don't understand. Who's the radical left pulling the Democrats left? Who?
Well,
AOC?
Well,
not a soul.
To be fair, and I will say this, guys, we have 100 people watching
live
right now. Hit that like button if you haven't. We're doing pretty good here. We're growing. We're totally growing. We're the biggest, the greatest. We're totally out there.
Go on.
You know, Steve, the one thing I think you can agree with on in terms of the evolution that we have gone through, we would probably 4 or 5 years ago especially post what happened to Bernie in 2016, we would listen to a guy like that and become enraged and be like, "This bastard! How could he say such
I
a
am
thing?"
enraged. I don't understand how you say I'm enraged.
No, but the difference in the disposition now is I look at a guy like that makes that statement, I just laugh at him.
Well,
I'm like, you are such a pompous ass. You are not even worthy of a critique because everything you say is horseshit propaganda of the highest order.
Absolutely. Look, I want to say this real quick. You all saw the picture, or actually the video, I'm sure, of the hospital tent that was melting on the guy with the IV still in him, and he's reaching up and all this stuff, right?
yeah, of course.
I want to be crystal clear about this. For anybody out there that doesn't recognize that happened right then, right? Like that wasn't like off in 5 years after you've had your sensibilities stroked and you feel comfortable with, oh, okay, I'm ready to change now. I got it, Steve. You can calm down. You don't have to be so coarse and angry, right? You can be gentle and sweet as he's sitting there. I mean, just think about it. There's pictures of mothers holding their children dead under the gravel, and they unearth them, and there's the mom holding the kid to the last breath, trying to protect her child. And these people can't be bothered. They're like, your tone bothers me. Why can't you be nicer? People need more time. That motherfucker died because you needed to feel comfortable. Think about that. Every time you get in your feels, every time you have a moment where you're going, gosh, that was just, he's just a little angry, and it just, right? Every time you go that path, just remember someone's dying while you're whining.
Oh, yeah.
And I have gotten to the point now where I recognize that all the tone police came out after Bernie fell in line with Hillary, after Bernie fell in line with Biden. This time around, as Bernie endorsed Kamala. This every time. Now, Bernie comes out after the election to do what all Democrats do. I give it about T-minus 8 seconds in counting before suddenly the Democrats say, what about a Green New Deal? Aren't we in a climate crisis? Oh my God. Climate crisis. Yes, we are. But you fuckheads, because you're so goddamn full of shit, didn't say anything when you had the House. Didn't say anything when you had the presidency. Hey, Biden, why didn't you stack the court during your time to get rid of the Roe decision to fix these problems? Because after all, it's a crisis of democracy. The nation is going to die if Donnie Tiny Hands gets in there. Why did he not stack the court? Look, the theatrical performance starts wearing thin after you stop accepting it. Okay. Once you stop accepting it, you feel like you're being punked. Okay. And I cannot in good conscience turn my rage down again. I allowed fuckheads to shut me down when I was talking about MMT, talking about austerity, watching people die without food, without fucking shelter, watching the fucking shithead Biden administration turn student loans back on because he purposely used that emergency act that he knew would not give him the right for this, instead of using the education bill that had already been passed that would have given him every right to do it. He didn't want to do it. But dumb motherfuckers say, oh, Joe, he's doing great things about student debt. These political hacks that you had in that last segment.
Yeah.
People listen to that and they go, yeah, you know what? You're right. If you watch Destiny had this great tweet. I hate Destiny. Wait till you hear this.
I hate him too.
Wait till you hear this. I want to read this to you because I want you to understand how absolutely fucking evil these people are. Okay? Here's what Destiny said. Fuck you, Destiny, by the way. If Kamala ends up winning, the entire far left, the commies, tankies, the Hamas supporters, etc., need to be fucking jettisoned for the party. We don't need them to win elections. We can't turn out our own base, and they are an absolute fucking cancer to be associated with.
Keep in mind,
Yeah,
Nah.
well, that and it's ironic that they say things like that when in fact the people that they're speaking of, which are people like us, haven't been with them anyway. So I don't know
That's
who
right.
they're talking about. Like, who are the us people that are still with them? There are nobody.
And Destiny, even though that's not your real name, Destiny is a bread tuber right down here in Miami, Florida, and he is another David Pakman, another over the top cuck of a male who just somehow gets a lot of clicks. I think it's a lot of like shame clicks because some people just like to watch the car wreck. But this guy is so out of step with reality. And when you are the person who's basically saying, yeah, what we really need to do is purge any type of populist left movement out of the Democratic Party.
Yes.
That's what we must
But
do.
I want them to. I would like them to do that because then they're going to be who they are, which will be this small little niche of they will be irrelevant because there will be a small little group of white elitists. Like, good, that's what they are. Let them be what they are.
I think about this. Even I personally like Joe Rogan. He may not be everybody's cup of tea, but and he of course is at the very top. But the point is that if you have the opportunity to speak with any of the adjacent, YouTubers, if you will, Jen was on Tim Pool once. It's like, yeah, you may not agree with them, but you would rather speak with people like that than somebody like Destiny. And Destiny is supposed to be a representative voice for the Democratic Party. Listen, keep talking, buddy. You're going to continue to keep people out of the party faster than you can see it coming. So please keep talking. It actually is a good thing. And we're gonna let one more shit lib talk.
Who
Steve,
is this? Who are we? Who do we get now?
I don't
who
remember. I think this may be Jake Sullivan. I could be wrong. I think this is who it is. But this is another example of a person who decided that when they heard that Bernie Sanders had somewhat of a critique about the Democratic Party and what they did during this election and really didn't know the direction they really should have been going in. Well, sure enough, we showed you CNN. Here's MSNBC.
Senator Bernie Sanders issued this critical statement, starting with, "It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party, which has abandoned working class people, would find that the working class has abandoned them." Now, DNC chair James Harrison, he blasted that, calling it straight up BS, saying that Biden was the most pro-worker president of his lifetime.
Yeah.
What is the problem here? Is it messaging? Is it policy? And how do Democrats fix either one?
Yes and yes. Look, Bernie Sanders has a long history of being contrarian with his own party. And of course, his comments are pretty self-serving.
Steve, what kind of a name is Brendan Buck? And how would you describe the background? Like,
it would be a good porn name if it weren't this guy.
Or, like Buck Adams or something like that. You know how you can tell when you're talking to somebody who just, he's in Washington, D.C., because all you have to do is look at his background. Look at the bookshelf, look at the desk, look at, again, it's so stereotypical. And
Who
yet
is this?
He's nobody. He's just an MSNBC political analyst who knows more than Bernie Sanders knows.
Wow.
That goes without saying.
He's absolutely tried to maintain an image of fighting for the working class. But I would also argue that if Bernie Sanders was running in this election, he would have gotten defeated quite handily. And we know that in part because Kamala Harris did better in his own state than Bernie Sanders did. So I think we have to take.
How much money did Bernie spend on campaigning in his own state? How much money did Kamala Harris spend?
Bernie
on
probably spent like a couple $100 just to do it. I mean, how much money could Bernie possibly spend campaigning?
Steve, honestly, if he spent more than 100,000, I'd be surprised. Kamala probably spent a few million, and we know that didn't all go to campaigning purposes. But I digress.
Take what Bernie Sanders has to say with a grain of salt. I do think that it is great that Democrats are, at least at the moment, grappling with what happened here. An important part of their coalition walked away from them this cycle, and it is a very
Bernie's full of shit,
changing.
Right? He is full of shit, but
electorate.
Not for this reason.
And they just pretend like this was all about racism or misogyny, and not to say there wasn't some of that, I'm sure. But if that's, if you're just angry about that and you don't explore what else is going on here, you're going to keep losing because there's a lot of other factors at play. There's no one thing that decided this election. I think if there is one big thing, it's probably just that the economy stunk for too long and people were upset about it. It can be that simple.
Now, see, now
but when you have
therein,
people who've been
it's
voting
not
for
wrong.
Democrats for years and years and years, and all of a sudden decide you're no longer for them, that's earth-shaking. And I don't think that it's necessarily permanent. I think the Republican Party is going to run into a lot of issues itself when it tries to be the working class party. I don't think it's going to be the party of unions when rubber hits the road. So there's still an opportunity, I think, for Democrats. They just need to accept that there's a lot going on here, and it's not just the simple answers.
Yeah, keep bashing Bernie.
That'll
that's
solve
the
the
way to do
problem.
it. Yes, absolutely.
You know, let me do a little assist on the bashing of Bernie momentarily. Homeboy Bonanza, during this entire opportunity to expose a Wall Street scumbag, stayed quiet and said, "My good friend," or endorse. I endorse. Yeah, I proudly voted for Kamala. He put one of his tweets. I proudly voted for Kamala today. Okay. Now, people will always defend Bernie. I've stopped. It's not my job to defend Bernie anymore. Now I take him. If you stayed silent when the killing was going on, I don't give a rat's fuck if you started saying it now. Okay. Because he knew more than any of us will ever know. He knew. He not only had the opportunity to watch TikTok, he got to see official video. He knew. Right. Okay. And so he stayed silent. Anybody can defend him till the cows come home. You knock yourself out. If you find some sort of weird, uppance about doing that, knock yourself out. I'm here for my family. I'm here for people, regular people. And that kind of bullshit of playing the party line, no way. No, because I don't care whether or not he or anybody else gets elected. He knew people were being slaughtered. Doesn't matter by what mechanism. He knew it. And he largely stayed silent. And he defended the people that said they're not going to stop doing it. Okay, period. He defended the people that said they're not going to stop doing it. In fact, he told everyone to vote for the person that said, I will not stop doing it. Okay. And so as a result of this, when I listened to that jackass, I had this flashback to grocery shopping the other day. I was talking to somebody in the car on it. I said, you ever walk into the grocery store and see those people who have different skin? You could just see the affluenza dripping off them. Their facial effect is different because they've never had to worry about paying their electric bill in their life. You see that just the guys wear these custom pink sweatshirts and white shorts. And it's like, I love pink, but it's just affluenza out the wazoo, and they don't have any clue, and they don't want to be inconvenienced by anything. Okay. The problem we're dealing with now is that half of us believe that we're capitalists, that believe we're someday going to be rich people. And there's this big, huge, fat shit of rich people and people that are doing well, that are standing in between the rest of the working class, desperate, fighting, silencing them. Because bad people in that other area want you to be really kind and sweet and talk in gentle tones because everybody's not quite caught up yet, right? But the people dying down here, they're screaming. And, you watch crime go up and it's like, well, I wonder why there's criminals. Oh, shit, there's this linkage, this one-to-one linkage with poverty and people desperate trying to get through life. There's all these moments that unfortunately we are filled with those kinds of consultants in our everyday life. They're real people that behave that way, think that way, act that way, talk that way. And when you go to the office space and you're sitting there at the water cooler, you can tell the people that have affluenza in the office as well. And you see them everywhere. So we're dealing with a society that has been split by people that want to hold on to what they got and people who are desperate and dying. Okay. You watch Occupy Democrats and the other 98% or whatever the fuck their bullshit is called. Right. And they're sitting there talking about the greatest economy in the world. And they're showing you the stock market. They're saying the stock market's up. It's a great economy. What are you people bitching about? This is the class analysis that is lacking. This is the fundamental flaw. And I tell you what, people in the MMT community that I have frequently supported in the past, there's some of them that I've cut ties with. Warren Mosler went out there and told everyone, Hey, you know what? This isn't a genocide. There's no genocide. Goodbye, Warren. Goodbye. There were other people that had opportunities when they were on Jon Stewart and other things. And instead of talking about the women of Gaza dying, they instead talked about female empowerment in the U.S. And it was right in the middle of the goddamn genocide. Talking about Joe Biden sticking the landing. I cut ties. There are others who haven't cut ties. People like Fadl Kaboub, who are wonderful people that speak truth to power and understand the relationship of the global South. And they understand the actual geopolitical nature of the world. They understand the BRICS system. They're not overselling it. They're not underselling it. By the way, Fadl will be next Saturday's Macrogy's podcast. There's people like Jason Hickel, who I adore, who we just talked to just now. Please check out that interview. But there are many people that are bougie, that are Democrat first, that literally, that is the whole world. It doesn't matter about the policy. It doesn't matter about anything. And then as soon as they're out of power, and I've been telling everybody this for years, the minute Democrats are out of power, Democrats suddenly remember, oh shit, we better start talking about these issues again, because they have no prayer of passing it when they're out of power. But in power, they won't do it, because this whole thing is theatrical. It's all owned by the ownership class, those rich oligarchs. There's study after study after study that shows we do not live in a democracy.
No.
And so when Bernie comes out and says something, this is all part of a narrative. It isn't really going to change policy. It's not going to change legislation. It's not going to change anything. Because Bernie said that each time he's lost and each time the other team did whatever, he's come back in, oh, let me talk to you. And then Nina comes up, and then all the old acolytes of Bernie come together, and they're all out there. We're going to do it different this time. I'm telling you, it's going to be totally different. And it's never different, because it's always about being back in the Democratic Party. It's always about doing the same shit over, different day, every single time. Every single time. So for me, when I hear that stuff, all I believe and all I think is that they're speaking to the bougie people that are just above, that go to the grocery store and they walk around like their shit don't stink. And they're talking to them.
Well, yeah. Who else watches those shows? That's
right.
Who watches. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Watching those shows. So that is their audience. People like us don't watch that. So like, I don't watch that. I only see it when you pull clips.
Let's play the clip, so at least people have an understanding of the context here in terms of what the senator from Vermont was
Is this
actually
before
saying.
or after he was responding to Nancy Pelosi?
Colin, do you know if this is before or after Pelosi? I know that this was Bernie.
Well, you'll see when they ask him the question.
Yeah, no, this was Bernie's interview on Meet the Press yesterday morning. So here's what he had to say.
As you know, your statement was met with some sharp reaction as well. This is what Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi had to say. Take a look. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Speaker Emerita.
Bernie Sanders has not won. Let me, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him for what he stands for, but I don't respect him saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned the working class families.
Well,
all that Botox.
Well, if the richest member of the Democratic Party,
I want to put her trading
that,
numbers. I want to put her current insider trading numbers up there right now.
It's got to be true, Steve. I mean, she would definitely know a thing or two living in Pacific Heights, San Francisco, California. Let me tell you, really in touch with the regular person.
Senator, how do you respond to Nancy Pelosi?
Well, Nancy's a friend of mine, and we've worked together on many issues. But
Bernie, who gives a
fuck on many issues? We're good friends.
Oh my God!
I can't even listen to it. It's like, can I take my headphones out so I don't have to?
It's horrible. No, it's horrible. But I'll show you something.
I have to say to Nancy, in the Senate in the last 2 years, we have not even brought forth legislation to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, despite the fact that some 20 million people in this country are working for less than $15 an hour.
It breaks my heart
in
every
America
time I hear
today,
him
we have
talk.
not brought, in the Senate, we have not brought to the floor the PRO Act to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're not talking about defined benefit pension plans so that our elderly can retire with security. We're not talking about lifting the cap on Social Security so that we can extend the solvency of Social Security and raise benefits.
Shut up,
Bottom line,
Bernie.
if you're an
Stop.
average working person out there,
He's
you
Mick
really think that the
resistant.
Democratic
He's
Party
Mick
is going to the
resistant.
mats,
He
taking
is
on powerful
absolutely
special
boy, oh boy,
interests
yeah.
and fighting for you? I think the overwhelming answer is no, and that is what has got to change.
So I want to show you something, Steve. So just so we're all aware, I did buy this deck of war criminal playing cards. It's a fundraiser, guys. It does help people in Palestine. It's genocide since 1948, war criminals. And guys, it's at thewarcriminals.com. And as you can see, Bernie Sanders is one of the jokers. So he is in fact in here. The other joker is Obama. So I'm just saying, but anyway, it's a whole deck of war criminals, folks. It's global, you know, so no country should feel left out.
Freedom House says that's bullshit. Bernie shifted the Overton window. If you got, listen,
Yes, he did.
he did.
Yes, he did.
But remember, it's easy to stand on a soapbox and say these things. It's another thing to actually take action when you need to. Remember,
He played the Mick resistance role, and he did shift the window.
They 1,000% had an opportunity. We preached it here on the podcast, even though a lot of people were trying to push back. We said that they absolutely should have forced the vote on Medicare for all. If there was going to be consequences, so be it. But you had to back them into a corner and say, we don't actually support the policies that we claim to support. And so now what's going to happen, Steve, is I'm sure you would agree, Bernie is going to try to gin up support for the Democratic Party again. He's going to try to get candidates to get up on the soapbox themselves and say, this is why we lose and this is why we need this. And then the same thing will happen in the midterms. The Democrats will gain some seats. They'll act like they're going to do something, and then we're going to still sit idly by while nothing gets done again and again and again.
Right.
Look, I'm just telling you straight up. I mean, we can go through this rigmarole. I know that there's a lot of people. Like I mean, I got tape.
With you. I think
got
it's
years
silly.
of tape.
It's just
What's that?
I'm with you. The whole thing is silly. Like I don't believe. Like we're really just watching like professional wrestling. And it's so silly. It's right. I don't know how anyone takes any of it seriously.
I remember sitting there crying on live stream, like Grumbine shitlib right there, shitlib Grumbine. I mean, I was in full shitlib mode when Bernie lost the first time, when he conceded. There's a video of me and people call me cuck and all kinds of other shit. Deservedly so at this point, right? But I was genuinely bought in. And like, honestly, it took a lot to separate myself from that. Okay. And what I'm trying to say when it comes to things like what Bernie's saying, right? This is a pitched battle. There's nothing coming from it. Everyone wanted them to stop killing everybody. I mean, around the world, people are calling like if the US didn't step in the way, the ICJ would have put Israel in the toilet. It would have done something hard. Like they were ready to put them to court. They were ready to take them down, but the U.S. stepped in, right? Which is another shit show. The UN cannot be reformed. NATO should be dissolved. All these things should happen. We should have ranked choice voting, guys. We should. But who's going to put that in? The Republicans and Democrats are going to voluntarily give up their power, because that's not how this mock, trial works. Okay. This isn't real. You're not doing that. You're not defeating them in their system. And this is the painful thing, because then you have to ask like that, the Chinese fast food drive up lady, and dude, where's my car? And he goes, yeah, I want some fried rice and I'll take water, and then you put it in a bag and hand it to me, and then you got to keep asking, and then. People don't want to ask, and then. They're like, I voted sticker right here on my forehead, and I've done my duty. I am a good American. I voted. I'm a good liberal. I've done my thing. You can't buy. What are you talking about? What do you want? Tiny hands to win? What do you want? Rump or Rump or what are the loser things that they say? I mean, you're a puppet. You're this. I mean, on and on and on.
Totally call me king. You can call me king. I'll be king for a day or a few days.
If you can't vote your way out of this, I want you to think about this. There's some sayings out there, and I'm sure the crowd can answer me. But when you cannot allow people to peacefully protest, when their voices of the people screaming out are ignored, guess what's left over? And people don't want to talk about it because it has to happen outside of the electoral process. Sorry, you guys that love working in parties. I'm going to create a 58th party and a 274th party and 9 millionth party. The system is run by two private corporations, the Democrats, Republicans. They control the debates. They control everything. Okay. In this system, in this little ecosphere, they control everything. They control the media. The media is like a lapdog that says whatever they want. There is no real media anymore. It is pure Leni Riefenstahl style propaganda. And at the end of the day, the only way out is to unplug and organize. I mean, you know, it's easy to call on the names of people like Fred Hampton. It's easy to call on, you know, the old things that we thought we knew, the 60s and 70s and the communist revival and so many things that went on over the course of our history. But they have done everything they can to kill and quell any form of worker unity, worker solidarity. They've done everything they can to make us feel like we are powerless because we have to deal with their version of the world. And people are so lacking curiosity, so unwilling to ask and to think about what could happen, what we could do, right? I've been saying for anybody that's listened to me on Status Quo, I guarantee you've heard me say this. You've heard me say it on this channel too. We must build parallel systems. We must build dual power. We must do this outside of the electoral process without any daddy Bernie Sanders, without any mama bear Pelosi's, without any AOCs ready to sell us out, without any of that shit. And it needs to be focused on workers united. It needs to be citizens united for real, like a real citizens movement, a movement of people. Okay. And until we do that, as long as we allow the D and the R to define who we are as people and eliminate us from talking amongst each other, there will never be that. And the other thing that's really important, it is so important to have an understanding, a theoretical framework of understanding capitalism, not just fascism that we throw around like a fucking tin can. I mean, really, truly understand capitalism, understand state capitalism, which is the merger of corporate and state power. And that is fascism. Okay. And that is what we have right now.
We already have it.
Yeah. Right.
Before Donald Trump, anyway, but until people are willing to stop just suckling on the sugar, suckling on the gummy bears, okay, and start going in for the real meat and potatoes and digging in. And I'm telling you, it may not start with 1 million people. It may only be 20 people, 30 people, 50 people, 100 people. It needs to build from a nucleus, a strong nucleus of people that understand and can express and train people up. Because right now what's happening is we're splintered into 1 million tiny little fragments. And there's always these little cool kids clubs that are very exclusionary, very uneducated, by the way, but they have the power, they have the momentum. And this is what has happened, is this kind of anti-intellectualism that has taken over. And it's because the intellectuals in power have lied to us nonstop. Okay. The Constitution, I saw this, very important. The Constitution was written by wealthy white slave owners. It was not meant for we the people. The people out of doors is you and I. When they talk about the people out of doors, they're not talking about just slaves. They're talking about everyone other than the moneyed class, the landowners. Okay, there was no real revolution for us in this country. There was no U.S. revolution. It was a bourgeois rich people said, I don't want to pay the tithe to the crown anymore. I'm here, man. This is mine. I'm the king here now. Okay. And if you read your Howard Zinn, you'll learn a lot about this. And you can go deeper and deeper in the rabbit hole if you're willing to. But it's important to really understand that there's nothing about this system. There's nothing about the people in power. There's nothing about the ruse that's pulled over us that is reformable. It's simply not reformable. And you can try till the cows come home, but there's a million parliamentarians, there's a million bulwarks against popular support, against populism of any variety. And if you think this was a mistake, I want you to think about this. January 6th was a bunch of freaking misguided fools.
Right.
Some of them were probably racist. Some of them were probably white nationalists. Some of them were probably blah, blah, blah. But there was a great many people that were just completely misguided, misled, ignorant as hell. But what they did was they went ahead and they stormed the Capitol, and everybody's calling them an insurrectionist. Now, I know it's easy because you hate Trump so much, and I hate him too. But I hate them all. So it's just no big deal to me.
Right.
What I'm saying to you is that if the left or the working class got together and decided it was going to send million people, that thing that happened on January 6th was preemptive. It was intended to say, hey, now we've caused to crack down and create all these laws to prevent the left from ever doing this. Okay? It's so unfortunate because there's people screaming,
Right. The people on the left that were so happy with that were thinking that's so great that we shut that shit down. And I'm like, was it though? Was it?
All I could think about was if we ever really truly wanted to stop a genocide, what level will we be willing to go to make our government stop doing it? And
Clearly
if
not.
it's just skipping broccoli for dinner one night, well, gosh, that's a really big sacrifice. You should break your arm patting yourself on the back, right? But the reality is that, you know, to the best, the one tool I had was to platform as many voices as I could, from Dan Kovalik to David Fields to Fadl Kabubin, of course, you know, my guy, Jason Hickel, to get others. I as many people as I could to talk about genocide, to talk about this issue. That was my weapon. I had a platform. I used it. I didn't go and, oh, well, we gotta worry about Trump, you know. This genocide's going to have to wait because, you know, Trump might genocide more. He might be a harder genocider.
You know, Steve,
ridiculous. Sick.
Maybe the most important place to end the conversation is if you look at the responses, and these were on social media, these were on corporate media, they were all over the place. The responses that you were hoping to see from some of the people that blindly went along with what Harris and Biden were doing to maybe have a moment of clarity. Not only did they not have a moment of clarity, but they basically are hoping that the genocide gets worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
You voted for this? Well, now we really hope it sucks for you guys.
Let me read one. Jonathan Cadman was one of the other people that was on the list. It's very good because he talks about it from a Jewish perspective and the Hasbara. It's very, very important. Please check out that podcast. Jonathan, I'm sorry. I want to read this to you because I think this is so unbelievably important.
Sure.
And I want you to understand how unhinged this shit gets. And it's going to take me a second, but not long. But it was one of the grossest, most pathetic replies. I put the Jason Hickel interview into one of these, like, vote for Kamala, blah, 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 right? I didn't do it. I didn't say anything. I just put it in there. I'm going to say names. Her name's BB Bowman. She goes, Stephen D. Grumbine, oh, you'll be thrilled with Trump. He has bigly plans for the place. It'll be pure glass and seaside resorts. That'll be your own fault. So take ownership with pride. And since you didn't help us fight for the rights here of Black people, LGBTQIA, women and immigrants, including Palestinians, you were against us and got us acceleration on the genocide of the last 400 years. So you know what? When you beg us to come protest with you and donate, nah, bish, all right, nah, bish. We will just be sipping Starbucks iced lattes by the string quartet on the Titanic you sunk, and a bigly fuck you adieu. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Oops, too late. You fucked up. Isn't that a vote blue sycophant?
And
I mean,
they
seriously,
say
That's
disgusting.
oozing
Gross.
privilege.
and they say
He
it's
woke
so
up in the morning.
and it's so, and they say it so ironically. It's amazing.
This is the type of people that represent the vote blue sycophant.
They do.
Yes.
And they're in droves.
Yes. Blue MAGA.
And as a result of that kind of stuff, right? You have to understand that going in there and saying, but no, listen, honestly, seriously, do you realize that Israel has been a colonizing force? This Zionist presence has been a colonizing force since 1948. Oh, but what about October 6th? Do you condemn Hamas? They always have the K to it, just a Hamas, right? And it's like there is no reasoning with a shit lib. So the only thing I try and explain this to people, and people never listen, but maybe some will. There's a huge chasm of difference between education and awakenings. Okay. I know I cannot drink safely. If I drink, one is too many and 1,000's never enough, right? I've gotten to the point where I had an awakening. I had an epiphany. I'm a fucking drunk. I can't drink safely. I don't drink, right? But to the guy that hasn't had the awakening, he knows driving drunk will kill him or could kill him or could kill somebody.
Right. He knows.
But he knows. He's educated. He went to the drunk driving school because he got pulled over one time. He took the class at the high school. He went to some local community thing and, saw some video on TV about some poor woman that got killed by a drunk driver. He knows. It's not an education issue. It's an awakening issue of knowledge meeting action. And that's the awakening. There's two different things. And a lot of people say, yeah, I know it's corrupt. Yeah, I know we can't vote our way out of it. Yeah, I know that. But yet the awakening hasn't happened because you're going to be like, I've got to vote. What do you want, Trump? Okay. So this chasm of, I know this is bullshit, but still playing the game anyway.
Right.
Is where we're at today. And it's not going to happen by cajoling them with sweet nothings and educating them a little bit more. A lot of people need to be educated about capitalism. They need to be educated about the system. They need to be educated about how the monetary system works so they stop saying worthless things like Kamala said about the national debt. But aside from that, they have to be awakened. And that may not be with a cuddle and a spooning in a comfy feather bed. It might be with a bitch slap of truth that makes them hate you. But you've got to be okay with some people not liking you and the next person swooping in and saying, yeah, he may have said it tough, but that's the truth. And the next person not running away and saying, well, I don't like what Grumbine said, but the reality is, so what Grumbine's telling you is exactly true. And I'm not trying to let 5 million more people die while you get your feels in order. Okay? Your feels have to become second. And first needs to be action. You need to get awake. You need to understand that your family is depending on you to wake up too. I have a child that has special needs. So of course I wouldn't want Donald Trump to be my president, right? I don't want the guy sitting there mocking handicapped people to be my president, do I? No. But when you understand that this woman up there is selling you more police. She's selling you the police state. She's selling you surveillance. She's selling it to you. And everybody goes, yeah, well, I want that. I don't want Trump. And so they let the vampire right through the door. And that is what I'm here to tell you is we got to stop letting that manufacturing of consent to rob us of our agency. We don't have agency in the political system. We do have agency if we work outside of the system. If we stop looking for permission and doing, and we stop letting the tone police have any impact on our lives whatsoever. Excommunicate the tone police, push them out to the pasture until they're ready to fucking come and form. Because we need people that are militant and ready to take action. That's the deal. That's my story.
I think the tone police, we should just let them have the Democratic Party. Let that be the Democratic Party. Let them be their own little thing. And they can just sit there holding up walls or whatever it is they do.
No, and as I said, if there was any semblance of a recognition of what's going on, remember, it would be very easy right now because Trump controls everything and probably will for the next 4 years. I don't see the Democrats making any type of a comeback in the midterms. Now is the time to actually say something.
With who?
Now's
Where
the
are they
time-
coming back?
Yeah, I know. Now's the time to actually make your move away, because you were giving the Democrat, just listening to how they were going to react. They are telling you to go kick rocks. We are not going to change. So if you think you can come and take over the Democratic Party, that's not happening.
You know what, though? I feel like this might be the time where the people are like, yeah, we don't want your party.
Oh, no, I think that's happening.
Yeah, we don't want you. Can keep your stinky party.
The problem is that here's what the problem is, that they're not just choosing not to be Democrats. They're either choosing to go Republican or they're choosing another. In other words, they're staying stuck in the system.
Right. No, I understand that.
And
I
that
understand
is the problem.
It is the problem. But I also, in the shorter term, would like to see the Democrats implode. Like, just personally, like I very much wanted. Right. So even though I do see what you're saying, the sooner that they sort of have to tuck and run is just going to be, it'll be very satisfying to me.
I want to be the guy. You can put me as Nostradamus and call me later. Okay. The problem is that once you start getting people hyped about remember everybody got goosed up about the movement for a People's Party that I don't know where. Where's the war protests?
As soon as we saw who was running that show, we're
my point is I'm trying to say everybody gets excited. You get all these people that are ginned up for about a half hour. And maybe they go to a bunch of meetings and shit. Maybe they even start building a platform. And there's not wrong to do stuff like that because we're nascent. We're not ready. We don't have trained people. People are not smart. They haven't been educated. And I mean, this is by intention, right? This is not accidental. So they're not going to ever teach you how to overthrow them or to change the system. They're not going to teach you how to end their power. You have to figure that outside. And there are revolutionaries. There are revolutionary thinkers that have spoken for generations. And some of what they did was wrong or didn't get it right, or it's told differently by the CIA narratives. But the reality is that wherever there is resistance, that's where we are. And we need to start thinking that way. We need to start reading up on Jean-Jacques Dessalines. We need to start reading up on Vladimir Lenin. We need to start reading up on Leonid Trotsky. Yeah, we got to learn all of those folks, right? We have to start learning. It doesn't mean we replicate. It doesn't mean we be sycophants. We have to become aware of the possibilities and consider what a modern move for workers and people would look like in the year 2024. It would probably look very different than 1917, but we are up against powers so vast and great because we've waited so long to take action. And now, I don't know. Somebody asked, is there hope? And it's like, well, the only hope I have is in people waking up and deciding that they've had enough and doing something about it, right? And I'm not talking about renegades. I'm talking about real united solidarity, working together, being smart, putting a plan together, building parallel power, building parallel institutions, working, really, really doing the work, not being crazy lunatics, but really, really freaking putting the work in. And, it's going to take project managers. It's going to take people that are design architects. You're going to take people that have special skills to work with the rest of the people. The people got to not be bored and, this is boring. TikTok's 15 minutes. I'll listen to TikTok. Right? They need more than 15 seconds of attention span. You can't.
We've been dumbed down too much. We've been dumbed down too much over generations that most people can't even focus that long to learn anything. I have this, like, to me, just overall, I think that capitalism and democracy are completely incompatible. I think that those two things just do not go. So the idea that we think that we have both of those things is so silly to me. I hate to claim like Jews for Jesus thing again, but it doesn't work. You cannot be both. And
can you please do me a favor? Beg you. Please put Keith Ward's Read Thomas Sowell. The ideas you're talking about killed like 100 million people. What ideas am I talking about that killed 100 million people? Because right now, your very system is killing millions of people. Right now. Not yesterday. And some of
well,
them.
I mean, yeah.
And the idea of us, we have to get rid of the CIA propaganda. And Thomas Sowell is a freaking libertarian skankmonger. He can go suck off, okay? The guy doesn't know economics, and he definitely has a slanted CIA-tainted idea of history.
Hey, if it pays well,
there you go.
Just like it pays destiny.
I just don't see how we can have democracy and capitalism together. That's just me. And I feel like until people grasp that, we're just gonna we're just chasing our tails around, because how can we have both of those things? I don't see how that's possible, because how can you have a vote when at the end of the day it's the shareholders that matter? I mean, the only way you can actually have a democracy is if the workers own the means of production. That's the only way you can have a democracy. Otherwise, it's not a democracy. So I feel like it's all kind of just a facade.
I agree.
Guys, if you are not currently subscribed, make sure that you get over, and the links are in the description to Steve's socials, whether it is Macro and Cheese, whether it is The Real Progressives, whether it is our channel, Status Quo. Steve is around.
He's around. He's always around.
He's doomsday
prepping.
Doomsday prepping as we speak in the rural part of Pennsylvania, where when the bombs go off, hopefully it's not going to hit him or any of his immediate family. We'll be fucked, but hopefully he won't. But remember to keep speaking truth to power, because that's all we have. Hopefully, as every day goes by, more and more lessons are learned about how continuing to do the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. So hopefully enough people have learned. And as long as you're speaking it, we will continue to platform it, and vice versa. It's always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Take care, everybody.
Steve.
You got it. Have a good night.
Bye.
You too, brother. And it is unfortunate, because there are people who still want to hold on to or grasp onto this notion that, well, maybe this time the Democrats will be beaten. It's not
happening. To me, I've known better since 16 for sure. Since 16 for sure, I've just known that it's just silly, and primaries don't mean anything. And I mean, I've known that for sure since then.
Well, the fact that they rigged the primary once and there was no consequences for it, I believe, is what should give everybody indication that there isn't anything that's going to change.
Well, there can't be consequences for it, because the people that own the party, or the people that cause the problems, or the people that would need to do something about it, or the people that did it. So there can't be any reckoning.
Guys, we are definitely moving on up in the world on this channel. Apparently, we got to almost 140 live stream viewers. That is not normal for us, and hopefully it becomes more consistent. We've still got.
We could pull a random card from the deck and see what happens.
Yeah, let's see.
So, guys, there is this.
I was going through something.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it's thewarcriminals.com. We need to put that in there. Thewarcriminals.com. Guys, go over there and order yourself some decks of war criminals. Who do we have here?
Remember, go to patreon.com/generational change. For as little as $5 a month, you can support our small but mighty channel. We are, as we mentioned, transforming politics into service. We are not going to be encouraging you to just support the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the third party or any party for that matter. Support the labor movement. Support these types of channels that are speaking truth to power, that are going to build coalitions that have nothing to do with your political stripes.
So, random card, Queen of Clubs, war criminal John Kirby, assistant to the U.S. Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs. And here it is. I know it's hard to see. No, it's not clear, but you could see that it is the Queen of Clubs. It is John Kirby. Okay, so that's our war criminal. Oh, it's a whole deck of them. It's so much fun. It's
Canadian
fun for the whole
socialists,
family.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
It is. It's fun for the whole family.
We're getting people from all over the world. I mean, listen, we have our Canadian friends, but we've been noticing people that have been coming in from all different places now. So that's great. And we're obviously very thrilled to have you here.
I like the foreign peoples.
I totally like the foreigners. As long as they're decent people.
Where's my Brazilian friend? Where's my Brazilian friend?
Hasn't checked in.
Okay.
Well, remember, we are going.
Yeah,
live
we're
at
a little
7
early.
9.
I don't mind going at 7 if we would,
piggyback off of Jordan.
Yeah. Why not?
No, it definitely doesn't hurt. That's for sure. So I know you really wanted to talk about this tonight.
Well, about the pogroms in Amsterdam.
So one of the things
I have rage.
And this is almost a too perfect of a scenario. We're not going to play you any clips of her because there is no point in giving her any platform whatsoever. She doesn't deserve it. She is as big of a social climber within politics as you're ever going to see. But Elise Stefanik, who those of you know,
it's not good.
Congresswoman from the state of New York. She was even floated as a possible VP pick for Trump, which I thought was absolutely asinine. Was never going to happen. She's a total dumbass if you've ever heard her speak, with all due respect.
I want to kick her ass.
And that goes to my friends who are in the GOP.
I do. I want to kick her ass.
This is a woman who literally would sell her mother up the river if it got her on the next rung of the political ladder. And evidently it did, because this is a person who is more than happy to take photo ops with not only AIPAC, CPAC, and Marianne Adelson. The Donald has promoted her to become the new ambassador to the UN.
Which, you know what? Good. It's a useless
better
position.
Than the Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense.
Let her be there.
But I got to tell you, maybe this position will set her up to fail. Maybe she actually will fail as a result, because when she opens her mouth, she sounds as dumb as she looks. So maybe this is actually a silver lining.
It is setting up somebody to fail, because the person that, whoever it is that we put at the UN, is always going to be the lone voice against everybody else. So it is putting her in the position to be that, which is fine. And again, her being there there's no power there. So fine, whatever.
Now, post the election, what the Zionist contingent have been screaming from the top of their lungs, including people that I know that I've seen on social media, that are suggesting that the Jews are being persecuted in Amsterdam. Is that what's happening, Jen?
No, it is not what's happening. I am getting to, I actually believe that countries around the world, and obviously there are so many countries that have spoken out against the state of Israel. A lot of them have. And a lot of countries have changed their trading, and all sorts of things have been happening that have been crushing Israel's economy. Good, right? I would like to see all of the countries not allow Israeli citizens to get visas. I don't think Israelis should be allowed to go to other countries. I don't think that they should be allowed to immigrate here. We're having, and I will call it an infestation in this country. So as somebody who sees what that's like, no, I don't think that, like, that team, that Maccabi team that was in Amsterdam, it's the football team, right?
Didn't they bring that on themselves?
So the story, for people who don't know, I know we're a little late because, it happened a couple of days ago, but the Maccabi team, which is a football team, it's football, right?
Yes.
They're football.
Soccer in America.
But they're okay.
Fair enough.
Was in Amsterdam. I don't follow these sports, but the team have been known to be racist and bigoted in the past. Like, this is a team that is known amongst the footballing community to have a hooligan, racist attitude about it. And so this team is walking through. Yes, it is. And by the way, for anybody in the football world, which it is not me, but they have known this about this team. So this isn't news to people. So these footballers are going through Amsterdam chanting things like "there's no more children in Gaza," horrible, their typical disgusting Israeli.
Did that piss off the Israelis? Did it piss them off?
Well, no. What I'm talking, they were running around chanting all these anti-Arabic things and being very aggressive and ripping down death to Arabs and ripping down Palestinian flags. And so then, go figure, some people didn't like that and stood up against that. So then, of course, per usual, all the Zio-Nazis turn it around to, it's anti-Semitic, we're being persecuted, and they start calling it pogroms. I cannot tell you how offensive that is to me. Let me be clear, to people. My great-grandparents literally fled Russia from pogroms, from their stuff being set on fire. Seriously. And my great-grandmother ended up having to spend 2 weeks on Ellis Island because of head lice, but that's neither here nor there. But the point is, these people were evicted. They had to leave everything behind. They had to flee. That is a pogrom, when you are the person that is the victim and you are being persecuted. The idea that bullies that go to another country and get their asses handed to them can then turn around and say that they're the victims. This is why Israel is imploding around the world. But again, please, countries of the world other than us, because we'll never do this, but countries of the world, stop giving visas to Israelis. Don't let them come to your countries. Seriously. You know, as soon as they're complete pariahs, maybe they'll care. The individuals, maybe they will. Stop letting them into your country. I wish we could stop letting them in here. Like this is, I personally don't think we should allow genocidal immigrants into our country. People are so concerned with the border. Are you kidding me? I'm not worried about the people at the border. I'm worried about the Israelis that are genocidal that are coming here in droves. That is not what we need. I think that genocidal is not a characteristic of an immigrant that I want here. That's just me personally.
So here's the commentary of what's really going on over in Amsterdam.
Did the Maccabi hooligans behave towards local Amsterdammers?
Different from moment to moment. Every time someone with a Palestinian a symbol or anything walk by, they get pretty violent, middle fingers, but also like physical violence.
Then I passed the monument and they threw beer at me and they spitted at me in the Damstraat. But it was like a very aggressive tense over here, like, yeah.
So Maccabi hooligans threw beer at you and they spit at you?
Yeah, and it was okay. I'm okay, but...
How did that make you feel, though?
Worried. I don't like aggressiveness in my city. Amsterdam has always been a tolerant city towards others, but when a group so aggressively comes in, I don't know, it makes me not feel at home anymore.
At one moment there was someone who was pulled off the bike and we walked to there to just see what happened, and at that point a glass bottle was thrown at us from the crowd of Maccabi supporters. So no, it didn't really feel safe at all.
Maccabi hooligans threw glass at pro-Palestinian people just cycling by?
Yeah.
And did the police intervene?
No, they told us to step back, go away, or even...
You know how you see those movies?
I'm so angry right now.
You know how you've seen the episodes on like SVU where they basically, like the FBI or somebody in the State Department comes up to them during the investigation and basically says, yeah, we'll take it from here. And that's basically what's happening. The police are giving the directive that the Israelis, they're untouchable.
I'm just, this is so grotesque. And really, it is very indicative of Israelis. Israelis are the most entitled people on the freaking planet.
Think about this. It's not like they're doing this in their. It's not like they're doing this in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem.
Well, they do that too. But
they're in Amsterdam.
That's right. But here's the thing. And as immigrants, they come here even with this level of entitlement. That's what I'm saying. The fact that there is a team of four. First of all, I've always. Like we always think of, and I do know these people personally, I've seen them, the ugly Americans as we travel, and you could see us coming a mile away in foreign countries and we're loud and obnoxious. And I say collectively we, because I pretend to be Canadian when I travel. So, but like these Maccabi, and this isn't just them, this just happens to be a team of footballers. It could be any Israeli group that go into another country and harass the people in that country. Are you kidding me? I really think that we need to stop allowing Israelis to get visas.
Is there any truth to what Kimmy's saying?
Yeah, everybody's scared of being called anti-Semitic. I'm not.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care anymore.
Doesn't matter to me.
I don't care. But no, I understand that. And I do understand for people. See, it isn't so much about being called anti-Semitic. It's really about how it affects people's livelihoods and where they work. And that's a big part of the problem. A lot of people are scared to say things because they could lose their jobs. People have lost their jobs.
That's where the problem comes into
It isn't
play.
about being, I mean,
it's
yes,
economic related.
Well, yes, I think people are more concerned about that than they are if somebody thinks they're anti-Semitic. Although, nobody wants to be thought of as anti-Semitic. I, at this point, don't care anymore.
I don't blame you.
I just don't care. But I do, and I'm anti-Israeli, to be honest with you. I think that it has been shown that the majority of them are supportive of what's going on there. So that means the majority of Israelis support a genocide. And so, ergo, I don't want those people around. I don't want them traveling to my country. I don't want them moving here. And they should not be. This team, whatever I don't know the governing body of the football league or whatever it is. But
FIFA?
I don't know if this is under that. I don't know exactly what leagues or what, but whatever that is that these Maccabi team, whatever's under, they should be banned. They should be banned from this league. This is unacceptable, and these countries should not let them in. And I'll tell you what, you know what? The only reason that they get away with it where they go is because they don't do that shit here.
No.
Because they go to places where no one has guns. See, when you go to a place like this, yeah, you could go bully the whole friggin' world. You try that shit here and see what happens.
You know, the interesting thing that's going to end up happening in this particular administration, because as we had pointed out, Trump was going to have, I don't know if he was going to have Nikki Haley, but he was going to have Mike Pompeo in his administration. And the MAGA movement, but I think more so the MAGA libertarians basically said, you are not putting Mike Pompeo in this administration. And Trump caved. He caved and he's not putting him in.
Good.
Pompeo is out. Now, Elise Stefanik is being put in a token position. And
exactly. She's horrible.
And she is fiercely loyal to Trump. Like,
but the point is, it's a pointless position. There's no power there, and that person's whoever is sitting in that position just raises their hand to veto everything. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, being a UN ambassador is almost the equivalent of being the press secretary. It's basically the same thing. It's a well-paying. You are going to get shit on job if you fuck up, and boy, is she going to fuck up. Like she really will.
Honestly, I prefer people like her not being in our legislature. So I don't to me, I'm glad that good, let her go there. We don't need her sitting in Congress.
You know, this is again one of the silver linings of the Trump presidency is that now more and more people are going to be paying attention on an even greater detail as to what Israel is up to, because everyone just blindly assumes.
I don't know if that happened. If anybody knows, I don't know what the current status is. Israel fly them out.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
That sounds like that sounds very like typical, like type of thing to do. It's like, oh my God, they're anti-Semitic. They're coming at us. You know what? Good. Stay out of their country.
Yeah. Enough with this bullshit about, oh my God, you're offending me. You're massacring people.
Nobody cares about your feelings. And you know what? Honestly, they get away with shit because of where they pull it.
Indeed. We'll finish it up.
Said, then you shouldn't have stood there.
So they blamed you for being attacked.
They did.
Oh, ze jatten allemaal pallets uit elkaar. Ze lopen nu met houten planken.
Hey bro.
Ze lopen gewoon met wapens. Er rijden trouwens 3 trams gewoon bijna tegen elkaar aan. Misschien is het een soort muur. We komen van 2 kanten. Ze komen van 2 kanten. De conflicten komen nu.
Zo dan. Zo dan. Kom je bijdraaien?
Zo, ik moest ook net stoppen met filmen. Ze zeiden, voor je eigen veiligheid zet nu je mic uit.
Why is this baby out, first of all? He looks like he's like 12. But how dare they're in another place acting like that. Oh my God. I would love to see them try that shit. Like, I don't know, maybe Southside Chicago. I could think of some places where they should try that shit.
One of the best videos that I saw on election night was this. I think he was Latino, he's just a Latino. I think he's a boxer, if I'm not mistaken. And he is a huge Trump supporter. He had on the hat, he had on the American flag, he had it all on. And Rabbi Shmuley went up to this guy thinking that he was a comrade. And this guy saw it was Shmuley and he told him, get the fuck away from me.
Did he really?
Get the fuck away from me. You do not have anything to do with MAGA. You have nothing to do with this movie. And Shmuley, in Shmuley fashion, of course, do you see what this guy is doing here to me? Do you see what he did? He's yelling at me.
Shmuley really does look like one of those little bankers at Gringotts in Harry Potter.
No, he looks like a troll, like a real troll.
But you've never seen the Harry Potter?
I've never seen a single Harry Potter movie. I'm sorry,
that's why he doesn't know what the goblins or whatever those things are at Gringotts at the bank, the bankers.
Harry
they
Potter.
Look like it's the bankers. That's what he looks like. One of those yes, they look like goblins.
No, he is. He's a little slimy.
See, he just figured that this guy's MAGA, so they're on the same team.
Oh, that's what he thought.
Oh, we must be on the same team. Well, in all fairness, statistically speaking, he did have a better chance of that person being with him than against him on Israel.
I don't know if that's true. I'm not getting
There's
that
still
impression.
more than half. I still think they're more than half.
Here's what I would say. I would say
Israel.
that there are definitely more people that are. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people that I know that are with Israel. They're not with the genocide. Like there are people that know that this is a genocide who still like they love Israel. And
No. Those things cannot mutually exist anymore.
That's what they're having.
No, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
They are.
In order to really understand. By the way, look at these earrings. I don't know if you guys
they're good.
Can see.
It's free Palestine.
They're Palestine guys. So there is a website. I don't know if it's a website, but there is an Instagram page, and it's called Handmade Palestine. And I urge everybody to go check out and follow Handmade Palestine. And I think they're based in Ramallah. They're in the West Bank. And it's a co-op of Palestinian artisans, and they make handicrafts, and they've got lots of cool things. And I recommend that. Exactly. Try that shit. I recommend for anybody, if you guys do holiday gifts, I bought a whole bunch of really cool stuff. They have like little kids games and stuff, and it's all handmade artisan stuff from Handmade Palestine. So I recommend. But anyway, I got these earrings, and I thought they're so pretty. They're Palestine earrings. See, you guys can see them.
Well, Michael Pan, you're probably going to get your wish.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. See, I don't like that. But I do think that
start with Israel.
No, we start with a basic questionnaire. And I think that when we find people are okay with genocide, that should be a red line for us as far as letting people into our country. Just like I don't think Argentina should have let all the Nazis go there after World War II. If we're going to be harboring Israeli war criminals,
now keep in mind, what is the biggest reason that Argentina was willing to take the Nazis on? What was the biggest reason? Financial.
Well,
the Nazis paid them off. They gave them billions of dollars to come to their country.
That we allow so much immigration from Israel? We don't have a problem with all their immigrants
because
coming
they're bringing
here.
their money here, and part of the reason.
Well, and they're white.
I mean, I know
they're white.
That's part of it. But as far as I'm concerned, everything at the end
Haitians
of the day,
are a problem, but Israelis are okay.
But the difference is that the Haitians are piss poor,
yes,
and the Israelis are rich.
Yes,
that's the difference. Now, yes, the racial elements definitely play a role, especially where they get put. But at the end of the day, this is all about money and power. Nothing more, nothing less. And speaking of money,
well, I think we should use genocidal tendencies as a barometer for who we allow in our country.
You need to scooch a little bit more. There you go. Now,
I think that's a fair question to ask people on an application for immigration.
Yeah.
Is what are your thoughts on genocide? I think it's a fair question, and we can translate in every language.
Now, guys, there's pretty much only one place that we can conclude the conversation this evening. I'm going to address Bill Kristol at a later date. We don't have to get into him right now. Although
I don't even know what it guys, if people don't know, I am not on social media. So a lot of times there are so many things happen.
There was Jew on Jew violence. It was actually pretty good.
Jew on Jew.
Actually, Colin, do you have
it's like black on black crime?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying? Jew on Jew violence?
Well, I'm going to give you a choice. We could either address Kamala or we can address Dave Smith and Bill Kristol. Which one do you want?
I don't want to talk about Kamala. Let's put that on. What's which Kamala thing in particular? The money thing?
The money.
We could save that because I really want to do it as a fun with math activity. And I want to do it with
We'll save that for Thursday.
I need a chart.
We might have, if we have John Nichols on Thursday, that'll be a good one.
Oh, he'll like fun with math.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay.
Colin, grab the tweet that I sent you the other day from Dave Smith and Bill Kristol, because this is real Jew on Jew violence that I think people need to understand. One is a libertarian, free Palestine supporter, and the other is a psychopathic conservative who's in the Democratic Party and totally supports.
You know why Jews are not a race? Because race is a social construct. Because race is, what's a race? I was raised thinking Arabs were a race. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Like, what is an Arab? I want people to think about that. Is it somebody who speaks Arabic? Because then does it include everybody all the way from Pakistan to friggin' Lebanon and everywhere in between? So they're all just Arabs because they speak Arabic. And so then it would be like, we call all of us Anglicans. We're Anglicans. We all speak English. So everybody who speaks English is the same race.
Anglicans?
I said Anglicans. Like I don't know what you call, because if you're labeling people based on the language. So think about how many different people speak English. Does that mean that that's all one group of people? No, that's ridiculous. But yet to white people, often it's, oh, Arabs. But what does that mean?
So I played the clip yesterday of Dave Smith when he was on Rogan talking about the shit libs and the shit lib corporate media and how they really do play a part in just turning off a swath of the electorate who are just done with their condescension and attitude and thinking that they're better than everybody else. And so as a result,
I need to know who Arlene thinks is gorgeous. Sorry, I can't scroll all the way up. Arlene, put it back.
I don't think she put that there.
No,
she just made a statement.
somebody said they are gorgeous. I see her saying they are gorgeous.
Maybe the earrings.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Just
I was
the
like,
thought.
I thought maybe there was something good for me to look at. Thank you so much.
So if you want to see what an actual murder looks like in social media, this is what an actual murder looks like. So Bill Kristol says, here's Don Jr.'s buddy criticizing Trump a few months ago for not being anti-Israel. And Dave Smith says, hey, while we're bringing up stuff from the past to own someone, remember when you sold the war in Iraq and got 1 million people killed?
Remember that?
No one cares about your opinion. Disappear forever, you blood-soaked monster. And yes, he is a blood-soaked monster. And you know what the difference is between Bill Kristol and Dave Smith? Dave Smith supported Trump and Bill Kristol supported Kamala. It's almost like this bizarro world that we're living in right now.
They're
That
crossing
doesn't make
over.
a lot of sense.
It's crossing
but
over.
the crossover's really happening.
This is what you call Jew-on-Jew violence?
Well, they're both Jewish.
Dave Smith is Jewish?
Oh, yes, he is.
Not a lot of Jewish Smiths. And I knew
No, I know that.
I knew Jewish Smiths. And also, by the way, if your
Well,
mom's
it could
Jewish,
be
then
that-
you're Jewish and your dad's last name is Smith. And I get it. I did. I mean, I went to high school with Jewish Smiths, so I do know, but it isn't common. I'm just,
Bill Kristol
what a douche.
forget that he's a douche. He's a war criminal.
Well,
Like he is a certified war criminal that should be in the Hague.
I feel like that about pretty much every single person who's worked in an executive administration since, I want to say, ever. Because who hasn't been participating in war? Every president is, so that means everybody working with them. They're all war criminals.
Bill Kristol was as fierce an advocate for the war in Iraq as anybody. And yet he was as hardened a supporter of the Bush-Cheney administration as anybody could possibly be. And he got excommunicated because Trump wanted no part of him or any of these neocons, at least in terms of campaigning. Now, will that be different this time around in his second administration? That is yet to be seen.
That's what drives people so crazy, I think, is that he's such a wild card. We really have no idea because he doesn't answer to a party. He doesn't answer to any one person. He answers to whoever's talking in his ear at that moment.
But Bill Kristol is a swamp dweller of the highest order. And he said, hey, Democrats, can I come to your side? And they said, yes, of course you can. Hey, we love to brag about former Republicans joining the Democratic Party because you are the new Republican Party. You fully embrace it. You admit that you do.
I think it's just people now see it's the same. They're the same.
But then you get somebody like Dave Smith, who's a devout libertarian, who is as anti-war and pro-civil liberties as anybody could possibly be.
Yeah.
He's also really funny if you've never heard his stand-up routine, but he's good. And so he is telling Bill Kristol to go fuck himself, which is what everybody should be doing. But Bill Kristol has been completely embraced, just as Jennifer Rubin has, just as David Frum has. Anyone that has been affiliated, Nicole Wallace, anybody that
I don't
was a
know that
part
person.
of the Bush-Cheney coalition, with the exception of maybe John Bolton, they're all in the Democratic Party now. And they all have a platform where they are going to continue.
But they've
to
all
spew this.
always been friends. They've all always been friends. It's just now that people are they're just more brazen about it publicly, but they've all always been friends. They have the same donors. They have the same people. They work for the same class. They're all together.
And the more scary thing that I think we should all be recognizing is that, we have been under this false assumption that just because Trump is in there now, that now all of a sudden the liberals in the suburbs are going to care about the children in Gaza. I think there's a possibility that you're actually going to see a push to the right from people like Bill
Right,
Kristol,
like they're going to
saying
do
that Trump is not pro-Israel enough. He's not protecting Israel enough. He's not killing enough kids enough.
Like, what's her name on The Voice did about East Palestine? Joy Behar.
Joy Behar.
About so they're going to take the approach, well, good, you've got it coming since you voted right. And that really does go to show how little they actually give a shit about anything other than their personal feelings.
Oh, well, they don't get that.
I mean, because, well, I think that, but no, I think once he gets in there, I do think that there'll still be a certain amount of them that are going to just stay enraged just based on his sheer existence, that they'll just fight. And good. I mean, I want that.
I don't think there's going to be as much resistance as there's going to be resentment this time around. I think there's going to be a lot of resentment, a lot of anger.
But they're mad at people like us.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Our small but mighty channel, we're the real reason that Florida's become a red state. Not Debbie Wasserman Schultz. No, it's our fault.
It's our fault.
Because we didn't fall in line. And I have to bring this up, and I'm going to bring it up here.
Who are we talking about?
We're going to talk about Debbie for a second.
Uh-oh. Okay, guys, this is
somebody that
I don't know.
somebody that we like. That's one of the, since we've mentioned so many names, we're not going to narrow it down to one, since that won't give it away. But one of the mayors in the congressional district put out a, very reasonable message on social media regarding how this should definitely be a wake-up call after such a loss. And then one of Debbie's toadies responded and saying, well, we're not giving up. We're never giving up. Fight on, or whatever, something along those lines. It was such an abstract and ridiculous statement. And yet there was a few people that liked the comment.
Of course they did.
One of the people who liked it was Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Of course.
Could you imagine being that?
I'm sitting here trying to figure out which municipality we're talking about.
I'm going to mute this for 1 second, guys. I can't reveal this, guys. I'm sorry. I just can't. But the point is,
that's so funny.
You are a 20-year incumbent congresswoman, and you are finding your way onto a 50-person liked Facebook thread.
That's how desperate and pathetic.
Making a like at a comment of a sycophant who is loyalty for hire.
Well, they are their own little. It's their own little circle jerk. They love each other. They just sit and they love each other. But guys, but see, and now we're talking about a very popular mayor. Like, we're talking about someone who's extremely he was the mayor before he was the mayor.
Which really just goes to show you how much of the real problem
so
is what it brings the conversation full circle. It's what Steve's been talking about. The infrastructure of our political system is broken beyond repair. How else could somebody like Debbie Wasserman Schultz sit in Congress? She is so detestable, so loathsome, so disgusting in every conceivable way. And this is now a blood red state. Thanks to somebody like her. She is as directly responsible for Florida being as red as it is. Because think about it. If you don't see the forest through the trees, when what she had done in the Democratic establishment, the things she did to Bernie, the things she did as the DNC chair, the Democratic Party was dying a decade ago in this state. They just didn't wake up to it. They didn't realize that somebody like Debbie can't sell the party. In fact, whenever she's involved, she kills the party. She's the reason why the person who ran against her this time got within single digits. That's never happened before.
A lot of it, though, has to do with the extremely low turnout.
That's part of it.
And the demographics are changing in our district.
But why would anybody want to get up for the party?
No,
if somebody like her is represented.
And
what if
every
you were
year,
there?
all of her people, and so many of her people die off every year, too.
Think about how much more enthusiastic and excitable people would be if somebody like Jen was the congresswoman.
Oh yeah,
here.
I'm exciting, and I give people.
Jen would actually tell people, "Hey, not only am I going to support your right to smoke weed, I'll smoke it with you."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just those little things that really do make a difference.
I actually, like the fact that I thought of for our campaign, if we lived somewhere that did have recreational, I would be passing out purple blunts because they make those purple Blazy Susan papers. So you could literally roll purple blunts. I would have been handing them. I would have been handing them out at adult functions.
Yeah. No, it is a referendum on how far we've sunk and will continue to sink. And now
I've gotten to the point where I just don't care about how they talk to me or what they say about first of all, I'm not on social media, so none of it hurts my feelings. I don't care about any of that.
But I will tell you guys that because of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I do believe that when we go live on Thursday, that it's almost a certainty that Rick Scott is going to be the Senate Majority Leader. So suck on that one.
See, that is what nightmares are made of for me. That man is scary. That man is really scary.
It's the eyes. It's in the eyes. Yeah, he's Voldemort.
Yeah. Canadian socialist, I would go to Canada, but there, I'd have to find a way to stay there. And I don't know that they want me.
Get your passport.
No, I mean, he meant like relocate. I've been to Canada.
You just don't come back.
I like Canada. I like a lot of things about it. I like a lot of places.
Yeah.
I pretend to, honestly, because I don't want, if I'm overseas, I don't want people to think I'm American. And the best I'm ever going to pass for is Canadian. I mean, it's not like I'm going to pass for anything that's remotely cool.
Oh, let me tell you, that Gretchen Whitmer, she's doing a hell of a job. Almost good enough to run for president. And she will.
Oh, that'll be nice.
So it's not going to be easy. Mitch McConnell is the crypt keeper. Get your people right, David.
Rick Scott is Voldemort. Yeah.
Well, if there's one thing I can tell you is that
Mitch McConnell is great, but he doesn't have the body count that Rick Scott has.
I am definitely trying to catch up to Rick Scott. I've done quite a job. So I hope you all have enjoyed this. And it's been quite a night. This is our biggest audience that I think we've ever had in terms of YouTube. So we're getting there. If you guys have not subscribed, make sure that you do subscribe. If you are so considerate and would like to become a paying member, please go over to patreon.com/generational change. For as little as $5 a month, you become a supporter of our small but mighty channel. Again, we hit triple digits tonight, Jen. We didn't
because we had Steve and we came on right after Status Quo.
That's true, but I was on last night and I got 90 live viewers.
I know, but that's just because you're just so popular.
I know. I'm just, hey, listen, I'm trying to let it rub off on you. You never know.
Yeah.
But we are making some headway, and hopefully on Thursday we'll see similar numbers.
Yeah, and guys, if you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit the like button. It very much helps us.
Thank you, Jimmy. We really appreciate it. And Mitch and Chris is right. Mitch McConnell. I'm definitely a turtle. Yeah.
He's just gross.
And tonight was greatly entertaining from Kat Negrita, and we really appreciate it. And one more time, get on over there. Any amount that you can contribute is tremendously appreciated.
See, I love it that I've got crossover people from Tim Black. Like that pleases me more than a lot of things. Like I like that because that means that I'm appealing to the same people that he appeals to. And I like that because I feel like, okay, then that's my people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Henry, we are on the right mission because we recognize, listen, we give shout outs to the shows that are doing a good job. Due Distance is doing a good job. Tim Black is doing a good job. Jamal Thomas is doing a good job. Status Quo is doing a good job. We recognize.
And it's just different things for different things. Like I watch a lot of things that aren't in this country. Well, Punch Up Pod is great. But I watch
Rania
Punch
Kalik
Up
on
Breakthrough.
Breakthrough does great
Breakthrough
work
news. But now you're comparing what we do to like news. So like there's different categories.
No, because I do think ultimately there is
we're not breakthrough news.
No,
I mean,
but what I am saying is that I do think that there is a crossover appeal to recognizing that even if you're not doing the same content, you're on a similar mission, as you like to say.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, and I'm always happy to recommend where I watch, like whose shows I watch and where I get news.
Listen, we've had our disagreements with Sabby, but she does good content as well. I think that it's very important that we recognize that we're not going to be able to get where we're going if we do not put differences aside with people who are actually on the right mission. Like I did a clip last night, and we will drop the clip. I mean, I did a live last night, but we're going to have a clip. I literally had to cut David Pakman up at the knees because David Pakman is not on the mission.
It's like apparently something had happened because while you were texting me, I'm going to go live about David Pakman, I was watching Tim ranting about David Pakman.
Yeah. This shitbag actually had the audacity, who's got over 2 million subscribers.
He complained that he lost subscribers.
He lost between 5,000 and 10,000 subscribers. Oh my God! I mean,
he was like, it was so pathetic how he was like talking about, and he called up a bunch of other people that are just like him, basically, that have also lost subscribers. Maybe because after this election, a lot of people that were listening to realize that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Hey, Zaina, may your lips to God's ears if that is the truth. And listen, we always had a cordial relationship with Vosh, but as far as I'm concerned, besides all the personal shit and things that he may be interested in his private life, that's his business. He has always been on the side of war. He has always advocated for the Ukraine war to continue, not to find an off-ramp. He's always bought into the Russiagate type stuff. To me, you could say that CIA talking points, you could call whatever you want, but that's a person who may have progressive leanings, but he's not on the same mission. And he has a much larger platform and makes a lot of money. Tim Pool, not on our mission. Tim Pool is in it for a career, and he does very, very well. But we have people that are going to be guests on our show that are even conservative, and they are on a similar mission. Our good friend CanCon is going to be on next Thursday. That'll be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to do what we can to cross-promote, cross-pollinate, as you say.
I do like to cross-pollinate. There's a lot of good people.
But make no mistake, if this isn't a movement centered around labor, it's not going anywhere. Waste of time. Don't bother. I'm not going to be a part of it, and I don't think you would either.
No, I mean, I'm really where Steve is at this point. I think that the electoral politics is just such a facade. And forget the fact that we know that it was like 0.000 whatever percent of the people actually have their will represented in our policy, right? Like, we know that the majority of people do not dictate the policy. And we've known that for a long time. Like Steve said, there's lots of studies that have shown that we're not living in a democratic situation here. But our election process in particular is just kind of ridiculous.
It is.
And by the time, and for the most part at a national level, the people that get to that, Greg Stoker is awesome.
Definitely on the mission.
And by the way, I did see something about him and Butch Ware cross-pollinating and creating some sort of situation for, thank you, Teresa, of consolidating anti-Zionist voices in media. And I'm hoping that that's something that is happens. And anyway, but that's not hard. That's not happening, Carby. That's totally not happening. I'm not stepping down. No, but could he die? Yeah. That's a concern. And
Sure.
JD Vance being as young as he is it's a concern.
Oh yeah. No, Vance is absolutely capable of stepping in. No question about it.
And I do think, look, I don't, we don't talk about it with him as often because he's not as incoherent as Joe. But yeah, Trump's old. He's not fit. Like I could see him. I mean, I could see him not living another 4 years.
I totally forgot. Steve Grumbine's also got a good channel too. Can't forget about him.
Real progressive.
Listen.
And macro and chill. And I mean,
Trump is now going to really be in the history books. He's the second president to win a non-consecutive term. He's got nothing else to prove now.
He's the first president to be reelected after being twice impeached.
Trumped up charges a little bit.
Well, charges for the wrong things, but no shortage of what they would have. They would have plenty of legitimate ones. I mean, let's not be ridiculous.
Like I said, it's all about the emoluments clause. It's all about profiting from government, which is what these guys do. It's why they didn't go after him on it, because they all do it.
They
like I said, that's one thing I'll never forget about Wasserman Schultz is when she would go on CNN and talk about how Trump is a criminal. I'm thinking, you're a criminal.
It's hilarious to watch it. Well, look, you've got Nancy Pelosi who talks about Trump like he's just so criminal. And how much money has she been making? I mean, it's just off the wall. That's why they can't go after him for that stuff.
Can you believe this guy over in Ireland wants to talk this kind of trash to me? He doesn't think that I would have
vote for Trump.
I didn't vote for Trump.
He voted Steinway.
What if I did vote for Trump? You're going to have a problem then.
You sound like the guy from Lucky Charms.
I am the guy from Lucky Charms. Karen Boley. That is one person. I'm not even going to put the name up there. That is one name that we will not agree on under any circumstances.
There's a lot of problems there.
Just keeping it as it is.
A lot of problems there.
100%. And this is from personal experience.
Oh.
Keep in mind. So with that said, I think this is the first time I'm going to have to say, I think the list is too long for me to call everybody.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, it's a good thing.
You even said that it's good to get to that point.
It is good to get to that point.
Holly Horn, Kat Negrita, Kimmy, Travers,
we know who our
Zayna,
regular
Karen Boley,
people
Truth
are.
Matters, Travers, Chris Garrett, Around the World, D and Friends.
I know that I saw Jeffrey Ginter in here earlier when Steve was on.
Yes.
It was cool to see
David
him.
Hunter, Arlene Chambers, JD Party Hat. Remember, a lot of people are coming in now because we're supposed to be going live now.
I know, guys, we went early. And you know
Ray
what? I
J.
am not averse to following Status Coup regularly. Like, I actually think that might be a smarter thing to do.
Well, it'll help us continue to grow the channel. I know
Well,
that.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
As
I'm
long
fine
as
with
we're
that.
not, and
Yeah.
then that puts us not overlapping with Tim for his first hour. Because I feel like, look, we're never, thank you, Kat. You can't coordinate with everybody. You can't. And we've tried over the past few years to make it so that we're not conflicting with people that are the same as us.
Oh, you think I'm lanky now? Ooh,
lanky
you're
leprechaun?
putting some fighting words out there. You just should be careful.
He is a little bit leprechaun-y. He's very pasty.
I'm not lanky, but I am pasty.
He is pasty.
I'm definitely
he's
pasty.
so white.
I am a little white. That's because I'm Irish, and you can forgive me for being pasty white as a result.
You're only partially Irish.
I am Irish enough to make me pasty white.
But I'm pretty white, and I'm not Irish.
I also have Polish, and I have Polish, Russian, Irish, and German blood. That's a lot of white.
So I did a DNA test.
I'm pretty white.
And this is true. I did a DNA test, and
You
I did
will
one
never,
called
ever be ignored here, MX Diva. Nobody's ignored.
No
here.
one's ignored here.
Everybody who comes into this chat,
As long as until we can't, we can.
listen. If we're fortunate enough, we got to 140 live stream viewers. If we get to a point where we're at 400 live stream viewers, we're still going to make a conscious effort.
Well,
to
we know who
acknowledge
are, and
everybody's.
but the truth is just because you have X amount of viewers, the chat is still a very smaller group of people. It's funny because I'll watch Tim, and he'll have way more viewers,
Sure.
but you see consistently the same people are in the chat that are in the chat.
Yes.
Just because you have more viewers, that doesn't mean people are the participatory people.
No, I
think.
agree. I agree.
I think. We always know who our people. We know who our people are.
Yeah, you guys are great, and we appreciate you all being here. Remember to smash that like button. Make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you share. Make sure that you can contribute if you can.
I have part Han Chinese.
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah,
And
it definitely rubbed off on your son.
I know. My son he's got a very Asian look, and he's got very Asianish hair, like East Asian. And then I have Tamil Indian. This was shocking to me. Like I really
No wonder you love the earth so much.
Tamil Indian, it's like they're very like the southern part of India, the subcontinent India and Sri Lanka, like the very indigenous, dark people in that continent are the Tamil.
Boy, it definitely didn't rub off on you at all.
No, I'm pretty white. But I really thought I was
Reese
going to
can
do
get
this
color,
genetic test, and I thought it was going to come back and say 100% Ashkenazi Jew, boring, nothing interesting, nothing to see here. And in fact, it came back that 4 generations back is Han Chinese, and 5 generations back is Tamil Indian, which is insane to me.
So that goes back to like the 1920s, I guess, 1910s, something like that.
It tells you how many generations. So that was like, they'll say in the 4 generations ago, you have this percentage of I did something called CRG genetics. I didn't do a 23andMe and answer. I didn't do those because I'm not trying to connect with long lost people. I just wanted to know what the makeup was. So it was really interesting. And I only did my mom's side. I'm going to do it again and do my dad's side. But so now it makes sense why I have a child that Asian people have asked if his father was Asian,
and he can tan
with him,
and he can tan.
So yeah, he can tan. Well, that's because of my mother-in-law. But
yeah.
My son, when he was always, we would go to this restaurant and this woman, and she would forget. But every time she'd see him, she'd be like, his dad Asian? His dad Asian? I'm like, no, because I'd go there with just Reese.
Here's to white power. I'm white.
He
couldn't tell.
He's got he kind of did look like, I could see why people would think that he was like half Chinese or whatever.
At the end of the day, we bleed red and we want green.
Who are you? Who's we?
Oh, we don't all bleed red?
No, we all bleed red, but we don't all want green.
I want green.
I want actual green. No, well, I just like, yeah. No, well, I mean, not that. But
the Dolphins are playing on Monday Night Football. Hope you're all doing well.
Who are we playing? Who are we losing to?
The Rams. I don't know if you're losing or not, but
what are we now? What's our record now?
4-6.
It's so unfortunate.
That's what happens when you have a quarterback that
we
is
need
too
a
small,
taller
can't stay
quarterback.
healthy. Yes, you definitely need that.
We need a
okay. So Tommy Z-Cat coming in with the important info. 7:30 on Thursdays is the Status Quo members call, which actually going live at 9 o'clock does make sense. So yeah.
Okay, on Thursday.
Yeah. But Mondays?
Yeah, but they only do that once a month. And so we could talk about that. Like that's not a regular thing.
Jen's getting old. She wants to go live at 7 instead of 9.
No, I just like the idea of coming off of that live stream. It makes sense. And I think it's convenient for people. And I think that it just flows.
Thank you so much, Diverse Presentations. And remember,
Free Palestine.
One of the things that you guys can also do is we're about to end the live. Remember, if you've also liked, leave a comment. That's also going to help more people see our channel.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, go to thewarcriminals.com. Order yourself some of the War Criminal playing cards. They probably make, I mean, I don't celebrate holidays like that, but it seems like a stocking stuffery kind of thing.
Hi, I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts.
I don't know what that's about.
Soccer style kicker. Graduated from Collier High, June 1976. Stetson University, class of 1980. Holds 2 NCAA records, once for more points in the season.
What is Laces Were Out from?
I'm trying to explain it to you.
No, you're not. You're being annoying.
Former nicknamed the Mule, the only professional athlete ever to come out of Collier County and one hell of a model American.
I have no idea who you're talking about. You sound like Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura.
Have you not seen Ace Ventura?
No. And you've asked me that so many times over the past 5 years.
Dan Marino is in Ace Ventura.
I know. They've actually had Flipper in the end zone. I get it. I understand the whole thing. It was filmed down here, blah, 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 blah.
You have to see that movie.
I don't like that kind of humor. We have had this discussion. I don't like stupid ass humor.
Do not.
I don't like potty humor. Exactly. I do not like potty humor. I just don't. That's not my genre.
No matter how.
I just don't find that funny.
I will always find it funny.
I know.
Always.
I know. This is one of the key differences between men and women. That and the Three Stooges. Also not funny.
You don't think the Three Stooges are funny?
No, I don't. This is my point. No, I don't think that's funny. See, it's so, I do not find that entire genre funny. I don't find it fun. We should do movie reviews about stupid shit, but I won't sit through them. That's the problem.
Your gun is sticking into my hip.
See, that's just not that funny. It's not funny to me. It's potty humor. It's not funny to me. It isn't.
Be careful with that phone, Lieutenant. In time, you could develop a tumor.
I just don't find that. It's not funny.
Is it number 1 or number 2? I just want to know how much time I have.
You realize I no matter how many lines you say, I still haven't seen the movie. So it's not going to you're not going to say one where it's going to click all of a sudden.
Well, at least GZ appreciates it.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you know that you have an audience of potty humor aficionados here.
All right, that's it. Now it's my turn. 5 minutes alone. That's all I need.
This is so belittling of our channel.
No, it's not. It's called having a good time.
Stupid.
It's called having a good time.
No, having a good time is doing things that are clever.
No, I agree, but it's
like fun math with Jen and Pete. That's clever.
Well, that we're playing that.
My point is, there's things that can be funny, and then there's things that are just stupid.
Yeah. Whatever you do not look up hot chocolate high velocity. We'll make sure not to do that because Lord knows that's probably something like two girls, 1 cup. Is that what that was called?
I don't know what we're talking about.
That's not funny. That's just
I don't know
disgusting.
what you're talking about. I have no idea.
You see, Teresa appreciated it.
Oh, there's people that'll appreciate it. Rachel would like that stuff too.
That's why I love Rachel because she gets the potty humor.
Yeah, she likes South Park. She likes all that stuff. I do not like that stuff. I just don't. It's just friggin' stupid. I like dark comedy.
I like dark comedy too.
And I like smart comedy. Yeah. I do.
Okay. All right. I have to say, of all the
I don't even know what that is.
All right. Of all the things that I've ever seen in a movie theater, the funniest scene I think I can ever remember seeing where I cried laughter uncontrollably was in Ace Ventura When Nature Calls when he crawls out of the rhino. Oh my God. Even thinking about it,
and the idea, I can tell you right now. Yeah, see, it's just so unfunny to me. To me, funniest scene ever in a movie is the scene with the ferret in The Big Lebowski when he's in the bathtub. And I actually have to make sure that I'm not eating when that scene comes on because I've almost choked. He's like, nice marmot. So yeah, The Big Lebowski is one of my all-time favorite. It's one of my 2 favorite movies. I have 2 most favorite movies, and that's one of them. And you know, I did do that cross stitch with the vagina quote. It's in my laundry room now. It used to be in the powder room at my old house.
My Cousin Vinny is one of the best comedies.
That's a great
That
movie.
was a fantastic comedy.
That is funny because that is clever. It was not potty humor. See that? Yes, that was funny. I could get into that. I just don't like stupid potty humor. I loved War of the Roses.
I saw War of the Roses when I was too young to appreciate it. That was the problem.
Vita Midi Vegemin. Okay, see now
that was very funny.
That was funny.
Very funny.
But that's in a whole different
It's
realm.
so tasty too.
I used to be obsessed with Lucy.
Yeah.
And my grandmother actually kind of looked like Lucy and had the red hair and everything. And I used to be like obsessed with Lucy. And there were certain things about her that she was special.
But the big difference between Jim Carrey and Robin Williams is that Robin Williams is a great actor. Jim Carrey is a great comedian.
He was great in Truman. He was great in the Truman Show. He's been great in things. You're wrong. He was great in The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I've only seen that. I've only seen a part of that.
That's a good movie.
Okay.
So like my point is that Jim Carrey can act.
No,
I'm not
saying he can. I'm not going to say he's great. I'm not going to say he's at that. I think Robin Williams was a great actor. I think that he was really, he was more exceptional than I think people truly understand.
I didn't love his stand-up as much as people did. I liked him a lot, but I didn't always, even growing up, like, and I remember when his first HBO special and everyone was like, and yes, it was funny, but he was a little just too crazy. Like for me, like I'm more Carlin, you know, like I'm more the thought, whereas Robin Williams is more just kind of acting crazy. But I liked him so much and I liked his characters a lot. I just didn't always like his stand-up. But I really like him dying was one of the saddest ones for me in the past like 20 years.
Yeah. No, he didn't want to.
Like that was really, really sad for me.
He had onset dementia and he didn't want to live with it.
Yeah. Man in the Moon. And I didn't see it, but I know it's about Andy Kaufman. Where's our guy? What's his name? Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton. Yeah.
Because I was saying for the longest time that I really thought what's his name was what's his name? The guy who was voted in and voted out.
You see, now that's a clever line. Maybe saw The Whole Sunshine, but forgot it for some reason. Yes, I know what the premise of the movie is. So
it's a great movie.
That's a good line.
It's a great movie.
Okay.
There's a lot of good people in that movie. Mark Ruffalo's in that movie.
Yeah. Mark Ruffalo, unfortunately, let us down.
I know.
I'm
so sad about that. I'm sad about him. I'm sad about Cynthia Nixon. But you know what? In the grand scheme of the universe, those are not anybody that I'm going to ever have a fight with.
They're not doing it because they're trying to hurt
those
anybody.
Those are not the bad doers.
Yeah, those are not. That's not J-Lo showing up at a Kamala rally after the Diddy indictments went down.
There's everything is context. Everything is a spectrum. It isn't black and white. I didn't see I Heart Huckabee. I have mixed thoughts on some of those types. Are you talking like the Wes Anderson type movies?
Yeah, no, Wes Anderson's okay.
Rushmore was brilliant. The Royal Tenenbaums was great. And then for me, they trickled off, although I did like Moonrise Kingdom. I pretty much like anything that has Frances McDormand in it.
I do love In Living Color.
I didn't watch that, but I do recognize that it was really good. Like I know that it was very quality stuff, and I do know that it was brilliant. It just I didn't watch it.
Spock, are you out of your Vulcan mind? Well, to be honest, sir, I am second in command and a better director.
Yeah,
it was good.
Don't Look Up was great.
Don't Look Up was great.
And guys, don't forget David Sirota. That was his original brainchild, and he presented it to his friend Adam McKay, and then it became a thing.
Welcome, Chip, but unfortunately, we're closing shop. So we did go early
you're going to have to go back. We went early. We went on right after Status Coup tonight. We sort of tag teamed, and we had Steve Grumbine on earlier. You know what? There's so many things that he was good in, things that other people don't even necessarily realize.
He was great in Awakenings.
Oh, that was
never
great.
seen that.
Awakenings. He was great in 1 Hour Photo. And
That was
movie,
a disturbing movie, and it was an excellent.
First of all, he played an excellent psycho on Law and Order SVU.
Yes, he did. Push the button.
Yeah. He's just well. First of all, anybody who's anybody has been on SVU at
Just
this
about.
point. Everybody.
Anybody's
Look, once you start seeing people like Jerry Lewis, Carol Burnett, like it's you got all the good people there.
If you want to see one of the great, I don't even know how to describe it, but if you haven't seen The King of Comedy with De Niro and Jerry Lewis, that's a movie that's actually as relevant now, because that movie came out the year I was born, and this movie is basically about our celebrity obsession in our culture. This was over 40 years ago, but it was as relevant then as it is now, and that may be De Niro's most underrated performance as an actor. So I would recommend seeing that movie. That was also Sandra Bernhardt's first.
I like Sandra
foray.
Bernhardt. I do. I like her.
There's something to be said for that Jewish neurotic actor in New York.
But she's also very fiercely LGBT in a
like a masculine way.
Yeah, but
It's
I've
kinda- it's
always
int-
really, I've just always really appreciated her. She has
Yeah.
a very go fuck yourself attitude about her.
Because she embraces the fact that she's an attractive woman at the same time. She's like, I am only for women. I have no interest in men.
And she's very unapologetic. And I've always, I like her.
No,
and
I
think
respect.
she,
I respect that FU attitude.
Yeah,
now.
I do. I've liked her. I've always liked her.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when it
And
comes to
she's
art,
somebody who'll speak truth to power.
she will.
I appreciate that.
All righty. I think this is.
I feel like it's so early. I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself now.
I'm gonna go meet up with Farbode. You should
I'm
come.
not going to meet up
Come
because I'm not going to
on.
watch. No, I'm not going to go meet up with Farbode.
Dolphins are playing.
Because is he bringing the wife?
No, it's at his house.
Okay, then definitely no.
Fine. Anyway, we're gonna go watch the Dolphins in separate places. But thank you so much for checking in this evening. Fire Bill was kind of a crazy character. That is no question about that.
I cannot.
If you've never seen Jim Carrey do Vanilla Ice,
here's the thing is that I am very certain that I won't think it's funny. And then you'll just be kind of like, why don't you think that's funny? I go through this with Jason regularly. Like he'll want to show me something and I'm like, I'm not going to think it's funny. And he'll show it to me. And I'm like, that's not funny. He's like, how can you not find that funny? I'm like, I told you I'm not going to think it's funny. I just don't. I don't like the stupid shit that you guys like. I don't like South Park. I don't like the fucking Family Guy.
I don't like Family Guy either.
All of that show to me disgusts me. First of all, it promotes bestiality, and I have a problem.
Yeah,
with
it's
that.
not even disgusting. Clever. It's not even clever.
I just don't understand. And if somebody can please explain to me. So they don't understand the kid, but the dog understands the kid, and they communicate with the dog. Well, why the fuck can't the dog translate for the kid? So
you're talking about Stewie. Is that what you're talking about?
But the dog understands him, and then they talk to the dog, but they don't understand the kid. So that's stupid. And I also find it disgusting that the dog is in bed with the humans.
Yeah, there's definitely somebody
I just find it gross.
Yeah, somebody had a
with
very
that.
unhealthy relationship with their dog, more than likely.
And I sleep with my dog, and I still find it.
What did I walk into?
You know, Lou sleeps right next to me, head on pillow. Lou's right there next to me, head on pillow, under the blanket, little snout sticking out.
You know what the sad truth is, guys, that if you go back and you watch films of yesteryear, and quite frankly, even if you're talking about adult films, what you will find is that there's little signs in these movies and videos that just goes to show you how depraved people really are. So it's not entirely surprising that even in something as stupid as Family Guy, that there's a prominent role of a talking baby and a talking dog, and the talking dog has intimate relations with women.
And I know that this is one of those things where, yes, it's a cartoon. I'm overthinking it, and I don't like that, but it's just gross to me. And I just, yeah, it's gross to me. I remember the first, Jason had that on one night, and I looked up, and the dog is laying in bed, post-coitus with a woman smoking a cigarette. Isn't that great? And I'm looking at it, and it was just weird.
Yeah.
It was weird. And I just, I can't get with that.
No. Protect our pets, protect our animals, and protect our children. That's
right.
what we gotta
I
do.
can't do that.
Yeah. So with that
I
said,
don't hate furries. I don't hate furries because furries are actual people that are consenting in theory. I don't care what consenting people do, but animals are non-consenting. And so it just gives me the willies.
What a way to end the show. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We appreciate you. We love you all. We'll see you Thursday.
Jen hates the fur.